I had a great family. My dad had a very hard work ethic. He always emphasized hard work. We went to church every single Sunday. That was a very big part of our lives. But I think what I didn't understand was really the relationship with Jesus. I loved Jesus. I knew about Jesus, but I didn't ever know I needed to ask Jesus for help. Probably because if you're working hard enough, that's going to solve that issue. I think that worked out really well for me in my life. I worked hard at many different things. I got married. We had 3 children, our own businesses, and entrepreneurial, and it's been great. And then, life gets busy. I was working, sleeping only 3 hours a night, 7 days a week to get it all done. I couldn't work any harder. The wheels started really falling off the bus. I had no idea where to turn. And I asked God, you have to show me what I'm missing here.
Susan, I've told you before, I don't know very many people like you. That kind of work ethic and drive, and you're just going to go get it done, whatever it is that you put your mind to, you're going. Your life had been what it was, and it wasn't bad. It was great, and you're working hard, and God is hands on your life, and you're very successful, and things were going very well. But you said you got to this moment where the wheels kind of came off, and God met you there. Can you tell us some more about that?
I asked God to show me, what do I need to know? So I opened the Bible. What the verse said was, cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never permit the righteous to be moved. And I closed the Bible and I was like, I don't think I've ever asked God to help me. I mean, can you imagine being a Christian until you're 40 years old and you really haven't interceded for yourself, I guess is what it boiled down to. So there was a few things I was struggling with. I always gave myself to the Lord during communion, but I had this caveat, you can have me, but don't touch my family. And I think there's that element of not trusting, right? You can do to me, but not, anybody can fill in that line. And I think God works with all of us where we're at. Eventually, he's going to get to the caveat, because if we're not fully surrendered, he can't fully use us. The other thing I struggled with in my life, since I was such a worker, is why give the glory to God? I had no idea how that computed, because I personally was working really hard. So I didn't know where I would be giving any glory to him, because I didn't ask for his help. This verse it did so much to me. And so what I did on that elliptical that morning is I just started crying. I was like, Lord, I need help. You can have me. You can have my family. I trust you with everything. What I think Satan does to us is say, you can't trust Jesus with everything you want, because he has his own agenda. But what I realized at that moment in time, I'm not in charge anyway. You feel in charge when you're working that hard somehow.
Yeah.
And I think we all feel that way in some ways, that we want to be in charge. And surrender means somebody else is in charge.
So we've been talking about this moment that happens throughout the course of life, not just one time, but for sure on multiple occasions, where there's this renaissance of the heart, a rebirth. And you're describing this beautiful time in your life where God grabs your attention in a different kind of way. This renaissance continues and he's got your attention. You're seeing him different. You're experiencing him different. And then he starts to do something in you that redirects your path. All of these things that your attention was on before, it kind of shifts in a big way. Talk to us about that.
I think that takes time. So it's not like I woke up the next day and was like, woo, all these wheels are back on the bus. They're not. It takes time. He shifted us into doing mission trips with our kids. But then when an opportunity presented itself with Rwanda, and I started getting dreams, daydreams, night dreams of what I would do if I could actually really help somebody in Rwanda.
Wow.
What I came up with was wanting to have this perfect petri dish, if you will, for a community, for families, but the kids in school would have this environment that was kind of perfect around them.
So talk about the very beginning steps of Hope Haven and what God did in your heart to help you know this, Susan, is where I want you to focus your time, effort, talents, and energy.
To say it was easy to start would be false. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a missionary. I'm not a pastor. I'm completely ill-equipped. You would call that an empty vessel in the Bible. And so I'm like, okay. And I'd been singing and praying, use me, for a couple years. And so when you say those powerful words, he eventually gets to the point. This takes me to one of my favorite verses in James 1:2-7. Count it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you reach trials of many kinds. So you can see how I went from not wanting anything going wrong in my life to thanking God for trials in my life. And so it just became this mantra. It was a bit of a joke because now I'm starting this ministry and I got nothing. I had many trials. But in those trials, God has placed all these people in my life to help me unravel the entire thing. I found a piece of land in the middle of nowhere. February 27, 2012, I got control of the land. By mid-April, we cleaned up the house and the land enough to say we were going to start a school. And so 97 children showed up. We didn't even know all their parents. And within a week or two, we were feeding them. We were counseling the parents. They were starting to work in our agricultural fields that we were developing as we went. I mean, there hasn't been a time I haven't been flying the plane and building it at the same time, to be very honest. I said yes. I just started. I gave it to God, and he has taken it to places I could have never asked or imagined. We have a secondary school that goes all the way to 12th grade. We're graduating kids this June, and we're taking them through the Leadership Institute so they can actually go on to become Christian world leaders. And oh my gosh, it's a beautiful thing. Surrender your life to Christ. You'll figure out that you can give him all the glory, and you can see the exponential effect that what I thought I was busy doing and how much I was accomplishing is exponentially more than you could ask or imagine. We have no idea the impact of one yes can cause a ripple effect to millions of people's lives.
It's awesome.